Ma'am, give me your ID right now.
Sir, what seems to be the problem?
You're acting suspicious. ID now.
I'm just getting gas. I can comply if you
Stop talking and do what I told you.
My children are here. Please step back.
Hands where I can see them.
The dashboard camera footage revealed everything in crystal clear detail. At 3:17 p.m. on a scorching Tuesday afternoon, a black Mercedes sedan pulled into pump number 4 at the East Side Shell Station. Behind the wheel sat a distinguished woman in her early 50s, her hair pulled back into a neat bun, wearing the kind of professional attire that spoke of courtrooms and legal briefs. In the back seat, 2 children aged 8 and 12 were absorbed in their tablets, completely unaware that their ordinary day was about to become a nightmare that would forever change their family's life. What happened next would shock the nation, spark federal investigations, and result in one of the largest police brutality settlements in state history. More than that, it would expose a culture of corruption and racial bias, so deep it would take years to fully unravel. The woman stepping out of that Mercedes had no idea she was about to become the center of a legal storm that would reshape how we think about police accountability. Before we dive into this incredible story, let me know in the comments where you're watching from around the world. And if this is your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because stories like this one need to be told, and you won't want to miss how this unfolds. Trust me, what you're about to hear will leave you speechless. Judge Rebecca Coleman had just finished a particularly challenging day in family court. She had presided over 3 custody hearings, 2 adoption proceedings, and 1 case involving child endangerment that had kept her up the night before. As one of only 7 black female judges in the entire state, she carried the weight of representation on her shoulders every single day. She knew that her decisions, her demeanor, and even her appearance were scrutinized more closely than those of her white male counterparts. That afternoon, she had picked up her daughter Maya and son Joshua from their summer camp program. Maya was 8 years old, a bright child who wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up. Joshua, 12, was obsessed with basketball and had been begging his mom to let him try out for the travel team. They were typical kids with typical dreams, and Rebecca worked hard to give them a normal childhood despite the demands of her position. The gas station stop was routine. Rebecca's Mercedes was running low on fuel, and she wanted to fill up before the evening rush hour traffic made the drive home even longer. She pulled up to the pump, turned off the engine, and told the kid she'd be right back. Maya barely looked up from her tablet, where she was watching videos about baby animals. Joshua was deep in a basketball game on his phone. Rebecca stepped out of the car, inserted her credit card into the pump, and began the familiar process of filling her tank. The station was moderately busy with the usual mix of commuters heading home from work. Nothing seemed unusual. The sun was bright. The temperature was climbing toward 90 degrees. And Rebecca was already thinking about what to make for dinner. That's when Officer Kevin Nash spotted her from his patrol car parked across the street. Nash was a 15-year veteran of the Metro Police Department with a history that would later come under intense scrutiny. He had joined the force straight out of high school, working his way up from beat cop to patrol supervisor. On paper, his record looked respectable. He had received commendations for community service and had never been formally disciplined for excessive force. But scratched beneath the surface, and a very different picture emerged. Internal complaints have been filed against Nash 7 times in the past 3 years. All 7 came from black citizens who claimed he had treated them with unnecessary aggression or stopped them without probable cause. Each complaint had been investigated by his own department and dismissed due to lack of evidence or conflicting witness statements. Nash's fellow officers consistently backed his version of events, while complainants were often portrayed as unreliable or motivated by ulterior reasons. What the department didn't know was that Nash had been posting anonymously on law enforcement forums for years, under a hidden username. He shared his views about certain neighborhoods, certain people, and what he believed were the real problems facing policing. Those posts would later be discovered by federal investigators and would paint the portrait of an officer whose personal beliefs had no business anywhere near a badge and a gun. That Tuesday afternoon, Nash later claimed in his incident report that he noticed a black Mercedes at the gas station and thought it looked suspicious. He said something about the driver's behavior seemed off, though he could never clearly explain what he meant. He decided to conduct what he called a welfare check. Nash pulled into the parking lot and approached Rebecca while she was still pumping gas. The children remained in the back seat, visible through the windows, still absorbed in their devices. Rebecca noticed a patrol car, but thought little of it. Officers often stopped at gas stations for coffee or snacks. Nash exited his cruiser and walked straight toward her. His body language was already aggressive, shoulders squared, hand resting on his duty belt. Rebecca looked up and offered the polite smile she had learned to give law enforcement officers, the kind that signaled cooperation and calm. Nash didn't return it. Instead, he demanded to see her identification. Confused, Rebecca asked if there was a problem. Nash repeated the demand, louder this time, drawing the attention of nearby customers. Rebecca remained calm and explained she was simply getting gas and would be leaving shortly. That's when Nash made his first major mistake. He told her she was acting suspiciously and claimed he had received reports of someone matching her description involved in suspicious activity nearby. It was a complete lie. The gas station cameras would later prove he had received no such call. He had fabricated the entire justification. Rebecca, drawing on years of legal experience, asked him to be specific. She spoke calmly, using the measured tone she used in court. She knew her rights. She also knew how quickly challenging an officer, especially as a black woman, could become dangerous. Nash didn't like being questioned. He stepped closer, invading her personal space, and ordered her to stop asking questions and produce her identification immediately. Try and de-escalate. Rebecca reached for her purse. That movement sealed her fate. In what was captured on multiple cameras, Nash grabbed her wrist and twisted her arm behind her back before she could even open her bag. She cried out in pain. He forced her over the hood of her car. The pump was still running. Gas continued flowing. People stared. Phones came out. Someone asked if everything was okay. Nash shouted for everyone to mind their business. Inside the car, Maya and Joshua looked up just in time to see a police officer pinning their mother to the hood. Maya burst into tears. Joshua began recording and screaming for him to stop. Rebecca tried to explain she was a judge, that this was a misunderstanding, that she would gladly show ID. Nash didn't care. He called for backup, falsely reporting a combative suspect resisting arrest. Minutes later, more officers arrived and failed to intervene. When Nash reached for Rebecca's purse, she instinctively pulled it closer. He interpreted it as resistance. Then came the moment that would define everything. Claiming she was dangerous, Nash slammed her to the pavement beside the pump. Her head struck concrete with a sound witnesses would never forget. Her body went limp. Blood pooled beneath her. Children screamed. Phones recorded. And in that instant, a routine stop for gas became a national reckoning.